Hello, hello, hello. I'm Hojo.
And I'm Hunnsy.
Welcome to this, the 37th episode of Hojo and Hunssy's Podcast, the safe space for old rock gumbies, where I might just end up losing us, our single-digit listener, once we've heard what my choice of music for this week is. But before we get to that, what's your choice, Hunnsy?
What, we're going straight into it?
Yeah, let's do it.
Are you in a hurry this week or something?
No, I've just been ill. That's probably why.
Oh, you just want to get this done and out of the way then? Right, okay, brilliant. What have I been listening to?
You can make banter if you want. You've got to be the person who starts the banter.
Okay, I will do. I'm going to start the banter. So this week, not what I've been listening to, but it's more interestingly what I've been watching.
Oh.
I finally managed to fix my Paramount Plus subscription.
What needed fixing?
Oh, usual crap, like passwords, wrong password. But that is my password. Reset the password. Anyway, technical problems aside, I managed to reset my Paramount Plus password, which I've been trying to do for a while because I wanted to go and watch that series on Paramount Plus called Nothing But a Good Time. Have you watched it?
No, I don't have Paramount Plus. I don't pay for it.
So it's a series that tells the story, the Sunset Strip back in the 80s.
Oh, right. Well, it's a documentary or it's a drama?
It's a I think they're called docu-series.
I think they are. It started already, has it?
I think it started before Christmas, but as I said, I've had problems getting onto my Paramount Plus. I watched a couple of episodes.
What's the format?
It gives you a bit of historical stuff around where music was in LA prior to that 82 to 87, 88 explosion that happened on the strip with all the hair metal, how New Wave was very much the thing. And then it talks about how Mötley Crüe changed everything.
Hard to believe that Mötley Crüe could change anything, not even their own pants.
They did. And it's got the guy who originally signed them.
Tom Zutaut.
Yeah.
Is it an interview with him now?
Yes.
Remember what he used to look like?
No.
He was a brilliantly fat kid with a bog brush hairdo.
Oh, yes. Well, they do it. Part of the program.
Decline of Western civilization, wasn't it? I always remember thinking he was the bloke who signed all these influential bands and he just looked like an idiot.
Well,
he's done better out of life than me, admittedly.
But there's interviews with him. Obviously, Doc's on there. Doc McGee.
Drug dealing Doc.
Have you just got us into trouble by saying
No, because he was convicted.
All right. So convicted felon.
Convicted felon, like the president.
You can't. True. You can say that as well, can't you?
Yeah, I can.
Yeah. You are desperately trying to get us cancelled, aren't you?
Be a blessed relief.
We're playing stuff that we shouldn't. Now you're
having to go at the president of America.
Yeah, so Doc's on there. There's interviews with Stephen Pearcy, Tracy Guns. I'm only 2 episodes in.
Are they telling war stories? Is that how it works?
Bit of war stories. It's got the woman who used to book the bands. I think it's at the Whiskey or the Troubadours. And she's telling loads of stories around getting messages from Robin Crosby. When am I going to get a go? She's implying that she probably had sex with lots of men in it.
Talk about me getting us cancelled.
She kind of implied it.
What's her name?
I can't remember.
Probably for the best.
She talked about Nikki Sixx coming over in 1981, going, "You got to put my band on. I'm forming a new band. You got to put them on." Usual sort of hell-raising stories.
Any social commentary?
No, none.
The social anthropology of why grown men decided to start wearing lace and teasing their hair.
It might come on to that. I haven't got to that point yet, but she talks about Nikki Sixx. Mötley Crüe lived over the road and they used to come over and try and get her to book them, and then eventually they got booked and kids were
It's a hell of a story. Band gets gig.
Oh, you are so cynical, son.
If someone was trying to sell this as a concept, would they say, the person who booked bands talks about booking bands?
And implying...
That's a reasonable sell, isn't it? You might tune in for that.
I'm only 2 episodes in. I'm mildly encouraged by what I'm watching.
Okay.
I reckon it could have been awful. It's quite good. It's worth a watch if you've got Paramount Plus.
If you haven't got password trouble.
Or you haven't got password trouble. Yeah.
Very good. Okay.
So that's what I've been watching.
But let's talk about your ears.
What I've been listening to.
Yeah.
I've been listening to, and this is a deep, deep, deep cut.
Okay, right.
This is a band that only recorded 1 album. They were actually coined as a British-American rock supergroup.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm going to see if you know who this is, if I give you clues. So a British-American rock supergroup, signed to EMI, formed in 1982, released 1 album in 1984 on EMI, and they featured members of Blondie.
Yeah, Chequered Past.
He's straight in. Chequered Past.
Chequered Past in Los Angeles at the time.
Did you?
I did, yeah. I went and watched them rehearse.
Well, you've never told me that story.
Yeah, I did. I think I was in LA to see John Waite, and he was also on EMI, and I think they did a 2 for the price of 1.
Buy one, get one free.
Yeah. I went to see Chequered Past in rehearsals and interviewed Steve Jones and Michael DeBars.
Michael DeBars was the singer. He actually left to go and replace Robert Palmer in Power Station, didn't he?
He did.
So, they never got to do another record.
Also, Michael DeBars, important to note, was already famous for being famous, wasn't he? He'd been in Silverhead. Remember Silverhead?
That album, was it 17 and Trashed or something?
Yeah, I think it was all supposed to be glam rock, wasn't it? But I don't think anybody really thought the music was any cop, did they?
No, I don't think so.
He was a bit of a socialite.
Oh, was he?
He was in that Rod Stewart vibe of knocking around with beautiful women and being a gadabout.
Oh, so he got famous for being seen with famous people.
Yeah, I think so, more than anything.
Pretty good singer, I would say.
Yeah, he was all right. I wasn't mad about him, but he was there that day. I was obviously more interested in Steve Jones.
I remember buying this record. Came out.
You actually bought it, did you?
I did buy this record, and I still have it. I think it was intrigue, really, more than anything. My brother had that Silverhead album.
Yeah.
Was it Silverhead or Silverwing?
Silverhead.
Silverhead.
Silverwing were glam rockers from Macclesfield. That's loved by your mate Jeff Barton. Rock and roll, a 4-letter words. Do you remember that one?
So basically, I remember my brother had that record, and then I think at the time he said, "Oh, you like the Sex Pistols, don't you?" They've done a record with the guy who sings on this record, and I was like, "All right, okay." And then I looked at it and went, "Hold on a minute, there's 2 members from Blondie on this record as well. This could be quite interesting." So I went and bought it, and I liked it at the time.
I seem to remember that the thing I didn't like about it was the thing that we argued about last week. I thought that some of the lyrics were really shitty.
Yeah.
Let's have a look. I'm just going to see what some song titles were to remind myself whether my recollection was true.
It was cliche rock by numbers, wasn't it?
Yeah, I'm just looking up titles. Let me give you some examples of what I thought were shitty songs. Let Me Rock. Oh, dear. Only the strong, brackets, will survive.
Yeah, okay.
It's that kind of thing. I wouldn't say the whole thing was cliched like that.
I think there's some interesting tunes on there.
Which songs did you like?
I think the opening track leads you down a path of kind of a world gone wild. I think.
Right, okay, yeah.
It's a really good opening track, and you think, hold on a minute, this could be quite interesting.
I seem to remember it had some good riffs.
Yeah, it did have some good riffs. Only the Strong Will Survive, and don't play it. Don't put it on now, like you've been doing recently.
No, we said we weren't going to do that anymore, didn't we?
Yeah. The second song's really good.
But Are You Sure Hadn't Done It This Way isn't their song, is it?
I don't know who wrote that originally, do you?
I'm just going to try and find out.
Country
Jennings. Star Waylon Jennings.
There you go. That's a good cover. It does tail off. It feels like a bunch of blokes who got together and went, right, let's do something. And they all came into a room. Steve Jones probably had 2 or 3 riffs. Oh, yeah, they're pretty good. And then they just ran out of ideas. It's not a bad album.
What made you start listening to it again?
It did come up on Spotify.
Yeah,
shuffling.
That's quite a good way of reminding you of things you haven't listened to in a long time.
Yeah, just popped up. And I went, oh, I've got that album.
Yeah. Do you like to listen to things on vinyl? Do you like to go back and put it on the turntable?
Yeah.
Still got the turntable set up?
Well, not at the minute because we're renovating the house. So it's in a box at the minute. If it was, I would have done. Interesting lineup though, wasn't it?
It was very interesting. Steve Jones, a decent guitar player.
So you interviewed them or just met them?
I went and watched them rehearse and interviewed them.
For Kerrang?
Yeah.
Was that a controversial insertion? I
don't think it was. Michael DeBars was all part of that, and I don't think that was particularly controversial. I think by that stage, Steve Jones had long since moved to America and started playing hyper-annuated Chuck Berry riffs a bit more than he was doing in the Pistols, which is frankly saying something. I think he'd broken cover as a rocker. They all really wanted to go to LA and become rock stars, didn't they?
Yeah, of course they did.
Even John Lydon with his own sneery stuff, he was interested in being a rock star as well.
He could have joined Mötley Crüe.
It would have been a better deal than having Vince Neil in Mötley Crüe.
Well, that version of Anarchy in the UK would have been better for a start.
Well, then again, you and me on Triangle and Dustbin would have been better than that.
Just reading a little bit about them. They did play live. I think this tells a story of the diversity of the band they were and probably the bit of confusion around what audience they were trying to get. They opened for Rat. They opened for Little Steven. They opened for In Excess and Duran Duran.
Yeah, so not really a clear indication of what musical style they were pursuing. But it was more to do with haircuts than anything else, because it's a rock album, isn't it? It's a pure rock album. There's nothing that's kind of fancy or weird or out there about it.
It's a no-holds-barred rock album.
It's not like the music was confusing to rock people. It was just they all had short hair, didn't they?
Anybody who thinks that they're going to be put off by listening to this because it might have a little bit of Blondie new wave in there, or it might have a bit of Sex Pistols snarl, don't worry about it. It's a rock album. And then Steve Jones went on to do solo rock albums. He tried to turn into the cult, didn't he, really?
He did. He was quite pally with them when they all used to hang out in LA in the mid-80s. Yeah. They'd all decided that punk wasn't where it was at, and having a very low-slung Harley Davidson and hair down to your arse was much more interesting. Yeah.
He's been doing that radio show for years now, hasn't he, in LA?
He's been there a long, long time. He seems quite an interesting man.
Was he interesting when you interviewed him?
Yeah, so I seem to remember he was all right. I didn't have any recollection of anything negative happening. So there you go, your choice, Chequered Past.
Chequered Past, yeah.
Checkered it out. See what I did there?
Oh, God.
That's terrible, isn't it?
Leave the headline right into me, shall we?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, but have you heard? Our Norwegian fan has been in touch.
Yeah, very excited. Very excited. And we're going to have him on next week, aren't we?
Yeah. What's his name
again? Find out what it's like to be a gumby in Norway.
What's his name again?
I don't know. I'm sorry.
He's called Nils.
Yeah, of course he's called Nils. I'd be very disappointed if he wasn't. Well, I like Nils. That's a good name.
Nils Brekke Svensson has been in touch. That's a brilliant
name. He's clearly a top Norwegian gumby. I love him already.
He's been in touch.
And he's going to come on and tell us what it's like being a gumby in Norway.
Yeah, so keep your ears out for that.
That'll be next week.
Yeah. So what have you, well, you said you were going to shock me by what you've been listening to.
I'm going to lose us what paltry listeners we have when I say what I've been listening to.
Remember, this is Hojo and Hunsy's Hard Rock House.
I know this.
You are not editing Raw magazine at the minute and going on a one-man mission to kill heavy metal, as you did.
Didn't work, did it?
No, it didn't. So what have you been listening to?
Okay, but I bet you're going to go, oh, yeah, I really love this, actually, because there's a connection to somebody who you idolise in the music industry. I've been listening to a band called Sleep Token.
Oh, right, okay.
Know about Sleep Token?
I do, because I know about them, firstly, because I keep abreast of music.
Contemporary rock. This is not true. You and I think the records will stop being made after 1992, don't we?
I'd probably say a bit before that, to be honest with you. So Sleep Token, I do know. I am aware of them.
We had a conversation, didn't we, with Andy Copping, who is the guru of download. And he was telling us all about Sleep Token and how wonderful they are. And to be fair, I did know about them because my daughter had been telling me about them a long time ago, which made me think it was a bit weird because she said they're like a metal band. And I thought, well, why are you interested then? Anyway, they disappeared after that for a while off my radar. And then we were talking with Coppo, weren't we? And he was talking about how much he was excited about Sleep Token. So I thought I'd go and give him a listen. And well, it's very strange music for rock fans to be interested in. Do you find that?
Yes and no. I think they kind of sit in that space where I think rock music is going and where a younger audience want it to go.
What space is that then?
That's more progressive, indie, dancey audio experience rather than just songs about dragons and demons and things.
Yes, you're obviously disappointed with this as a concept, aren't you? You don't want music to go that way. You want it to be about dragons and Dio.
I do, and I'd love any band out there to plant their flag firmly in that particular battlefield. But bands like Sleep Token, and you could argue that bands like Pendulum were doing it before that. And I think when you started to see downloads shifting to bands like Pendulum and Enter Shikari, or Enter Shakira, as I like to call them.
Yeah, that'll get us sued again.
Because they wouldn't book these bands if there wasn't an audience, right?
Clearly there's an audience, because I did my research. They're massive. They've played Wembley. They're huge.
Yeah, they're huge. They're huge.
Why do people think this is metal? I mean, there are bits of it where the guitar's pretty heavy and the drums are quite intense, but there's loads of it that's pure rap music. There's even a bit of drill in there. There's all those vocals that are slightly auto-tuned. All that stuff that has traditionally been the sign of Satan to traditional rock fans.
Yeah, exactly. It won't be long now before there's a dance tent at Download.
It's going to happen.
But the thing is, it's got to, hasn't it? It's got to move on. There's only so many years you can get away with still putting, the legacy bands. You've got to adapt. And Sleep Token are just one of those bands that have seen an opportunity. I think they're quite good.
I thought it was really good. Their album, Take Me Back to Eden from 2023. I've been listening to that. I'm just very surprised that they're categorised as a heavy metal band or a hard rock band or whatever you want to call them, because there's a lot of that album that has nothing to do with rock at all. It's not that there isn't any rock on there. It's just a lot of it is very, very different. Lots of soft piano things, bits of that hip-hoppy vibe to it, the way that the rhythms are. And on a new single that I was listening to called Emergence, there's a great big long sax solo. It's all very exciting. I'm all in favour of it moving along. Here's an interesting question for our single-digit listeners. Are you prepared for hard rock music to move on and evolve and change? Or do you want it just to be the music we all grew up and loved at the time?
It's a very good question. You definitely divide opinion there.
We'll find out. Maybe we'll get some response.
Yeah. Coppo loves this band, doesn't he?
Yeah, but he has a vested interest too, doesn't he?
He does. He's got skin in
He
the
does
game.
have a vested interest in any band that's selling out Wembley Arena. He's going to love that, whatever.
But their wiki page, it's interesting because it says Sleep Token are an English heavy metal band. And then you go to genres and it says alternative metal, progressive metal, post-metal, indie pop, and djent. I don't know what djent is.
No, nothing about hip-hop.
No, nothing about hip-hop.
Oh, that's quite surprising to me.
Are you intrigued by the members' names of the band?
No, the one thing I really don't like about them is that they wear that stupid fucking masks and makeup nonsense. I've got no time for that.
Oh, like him out of Ghost.
Yeah, like Ghost. Funnily enough, when I was listening to it on my streaming platform, when the record finishes, I'm so old, the album finishes and then they put things up next they consider to be in the same wheelhouse. And the thing that came up straight away after it was Ghost.
Yeah.
Ghost music doesn't sound like that to me. Ghost music's a lot more pop, a lot more traditional pop. I've never understood why people go crazy for Ghost because it's pop rock to me. Why are they supporting Iron Maiden? I don't get it.
For me, Ghost sound like what Blue Oyster Cult would have done after Fire of an Unknown Origin.
They're very poppy, aren't they?
Yeah, pop. Yeah.
Yeah, very pop with a bit of guitar. So I don't really understand it. I don't really understand the way that rock music's going, but then why should I? I'm 60. It's not that I don't like Sleep Token, great. I really enjoyed listening to it, but I don't really claim to understand what's going on in the minds of 24-year-old heavy rock fans anymore.
But let's go back to their names, the members' names.
Well, one's called Vessel, isn't he?
Yeah, is he the singer?
Well, I was hoping it was Darius Vessel who used to play for Manchester City. It's not him, though, is it?
But the others are just called 2, 3, 4.
There's only 2 who's in the band, apparently. 3, 4 and 5 or whatever. They're all just touring musicians.
One of them's called Aspera.
Aspera Parter. I'm not into any of that. I think it's all childish.
Why can't rock bands have proper names now, like Warren D. Martini?
Exactly, yeah.
You know what I mean? Vicky Fox.
Exactly. Why can't they get back to some proper names they were given at birth?
Oh, I see Warren D. Martini's back, isn't he, with Stephen Pearcy?
Excellent.
Slight tangent. You've brushed that one under the carpet quite quickly.
I just wondered what happened to Warren Martini, that Warren D. Martini needed to differentiate himself with the D.
All right, okay.
We're getting a long way away from Sleep Token, aren't we?
Yeah.
But there you go. So that was my choice.
You like it?
I do. I was very excited. That song Emergence, which is a teaser from their next album, which is out in May, apparently, called Even in Arcadia, is absolutely fantastic. It's a great song.
Yeah. So to our single digit listeners, who might be scared to dip
I think they might be. They might think that we're traitors to the cause because we're talking about music that's made post 92.
Yeah, but it's still rock music, isn't it?
I think so.
I think we've got to accept the fact that we need to recognise this new wave. Imagine a 60-year-old bloke in 1979, 1980. His entire life was all based around prog and Zeppelin and Bad Company Free and all that sort of stuff. All of a sudden seeing Witchfinder General going, what's this bloody rubbish? Right?
Only 26 people ever saw Witchfinder General.
At that point, I'm saying a bloke because I doubt it was a female, but that bloke at that point probably of similar position going, oh, I don't like the way this is going. What's all this about? I don't like this. It sounds a bit too punk for me. So
we've shown how incredibly open-minded we are about the evolution of rock music just in one show, but we might have lost all our listeners.
I guarantee you when this episode goes out on the socials, we talk about Sleep Token and say this is what we're talking about on this week's pod. I guarantee it might bring a few out the woodwork going, Thank you. I love this. And I've always been scared to tell people that I like this lot.
Can't be scared.
I love Rainbow Rising just as much as I love Sleep Token.
Well, that'll be something. There you go. I've only talked about them so that I can get a free ticket when they come in concert off Coppo anyway.
Oh, is this why you're doing it, is it?
Yeah, it's purely self-interest.
They're playing Download, aren't they?
I've no idea.
I think the headline download.
We'll find out.
Well, I'll be there because I'm cycling there, but you.
Yes. No, I'm very rarely there, but maybe I will for these lot.
All right. Okay. Interesting.
Rightio, well, there you go. We've reached the end of the line for another week.
Have we? Really?
Yeah, time is marching on, my friend.
Is this your plan now, to shorten the length of episodes?
Well, it won't be shortened. By the time it's been edited, it'll be its normal, traditional length. I'm just trying to cut out excess fat. Right, mister.
Okay, brilliant.
Good catching up, and we've put the cat amongst the pigeons there.
We have. We've put the cat amongst the pigeons. We've talked about new metal and a forgotten hybrid new wave. We'll get back to basics next week. I'm going to talk about Rat's Invasion of Your Privacy.
Yeah, and I'm going to talk about Status Quo's live album or something like that.
Yeah, brilliant. Don't worry, listeners. All will be back to normal next week.
Sorry, it's just been a weird one.
See you later.
See you later.
Bye.